faithfully delivering value and interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Club. Today we're interpreting the book Strategy Safari. Subtitle: A Guide Through the Wilds of Strategic Management. This book works both as a strategic studies textbook and for professionals in management and consulting, serving as a thinking guide. Authored by three scholars: Henry Mintzberg, a management professor at McGill University in Canada and renowned management guru. Unlike typical scholars, his entire career focused on understanding how managers make decisions and formulate strategies. He plays a disruptor role in management academia, challenging traditions and proposing original insights. In 1973, Mintzberg gained fame with his book, The Nature of Managerial Work. This strategy safari was co-authored with Bruce Ailstrand from University of Toronto and Joseph Lampel from University of St. Andrews. It's challenging. A comprehensive volume compiling 50-plus years of strategic thought. Heavily referenced with 35 pages of citations, it's packed with complex terminology and intricate connections. First, let's examine the title Strategy Safari. What is strategy? The textbooks define it as management plans for achieving business outcomes. Mintzberg offers no single definition, believing strategy requires multiple interpretations. He compares strategy to an elephant, with each theorist as a blind person feeling just one part. But none truly comprehends the entire elephant. Perspective limits understanding, and the elephant itself keeps evolving. To clarify, the book divides into two parts, examining 10 strategy schools separately, then integrating them. Today, we'll group these schools into prescriptive and descriptive strategy categories. First, prescriptive strategy. Prescriptive strategy means adherents believe strategic planning precedes action and can be explicitly defined. You might ask, isn't this stating the obvious? Planning should precede action, right? Well, the next 7 schools actually disagree. We'll cover that later. For now, back to prescriptive strategy. This includes 3 schools: design school, planning school, and the renowned positioning school. Let's introduce them one by one. Starting with design school, you might not recognize the name, but SWOT analysis, that might ring a bell. We use it daily at work, don't we? Exactly. SWOT analysis is the core framework of design school. SWOT analysis involves researching internal, external opportunities, threats, creating an analytical matrix before execution. Emerging in the 1950s to 60s, design school had massive influence and remains foundational in MBA curricula. Concurrently, the planning school emerged alongside it. This school decomposes strategy formation into sequential processes for precise execution control. Using refined SWOT models, planning school creates programmed strategies, detailed plans, ROI assessments, strict performance tracking. Through such rigorous controls, organizations become tightly integrated systems. The third prescriptive school is positioning school. This school believes only select strategies can defeat competitors in any industry. You sense it already. Positioning school views business as warfare. Its pioneer, Michael Porter, father of competitive strategy, his value chain theory and 5 forces model are quintessential positioning tools. The central question: how can companies win business battles? Thus, positioning school is competition-driven, not cooperation-based. Victory requires seizing advantageous positions, building strengths, or creating barriers. Positioning rejects universal templates. Each company must find unique positioning based on context, like custom tailoring. Special mention, Al Reese and Jack Trout, acknowledged as positioning pioneers. Actually, it's brand positioning and marketing positioning, not true strategic positioning. These 3 schools, design, planning, and positioning, are collectively called prescriptive strategy. According to Mintzberg, these schools have 2 critical flaws in practice. First flaw: planning for the future requires assuming the future is predictable. But reality is, environments constantly change. Information is never complete, making the future fundamentally unpredictable. Second flaw: Prescriptive strategy separates thinking from action, planners from executors. This division is unrealistic as managers are like battlefield commanders. Officers at all levels must both plan and implement. The next 7 schools address these shortcomings. They view strategy formation as an ongoing learning and discovery process. It can't be predefined, only broadly described as it unfolds. Hence, these 7 are collectively termed descriptive strategy. The descriptive schools are entrepreneurial, cognitive, learning, power, cultural, environmental, and configuration. Let's explore them one by one. First, the entrepreneurial school emphasizes individual leaders. Strategies emerge from one visionary, relying on intuition, judgment, and experience. When featured in business magazines, such entrepreneurs often become heroic figures, hailed as great man leaders. For example, Fortune magazine in 1994 praised GM's CEO for reversing decline and revitalizing the company, as if the CEO single-handedly achieved this, a trend of excessive praise that's intensifying. In October 2019, at the Forbes Global CEO Conference, Steve Forbes awarded Jack Ma the Forbes Lifetime Achievement Award, calling him one of history's greatest entrepreneurial heroes. His original vision and achievements deserve a Nobel Prize. The entrepreneurial school focuses on one core question: where does strategy truly originate? According to the entrepreneurial school, strategy originates from the entrepreneur's inner vision. This vision might be a general direction or a vague goal. For this, entrepreneurs would stop at nothing. Thus, the entire organization is designed and driven by the entrepreneur. The master Jim Collins in this school wrote Builders of Organizations, categorizing entrepreneurs with traits like strong autonomy, control, desire, achievement hunger, risk-taking, both opportunity seekers and proactive actors. Impliedly, entrepreneurs seem born, like fearless commando leaders, though these traits carry downsides. In 2005, scholar John Gartner noted similarities between textbook descriptions of hypomanic patients and media portrayals of internet entrepreneurs. Interviewing 10 internet CEOs, Gartner found consensus. Hypomanic symptoms align with entrepreneurial traits: charisma, persuasiveness, energy, sleeplessness, world-changing belief. Negatives include recklessness and irritability over setbacks. They often perceive dissent as opposition, missing potential insights. Mintzberg critiques the entrepreneurial school as having more flaws than merits. He argues it overemphasizes great man theory, noting leader-centric organizations lack longevity. As Collins wrote in Built to Last, the entrepreneur's true role is building organizational systems, like a clock that runs perpetually once crafted. So how does an entrepreneur's inner vision become strategy? Answering this involves another school, the cognitive school. This school uses cognitive psychology to explore strategy formation's essence. The cognitive school posits cognition begins chaotically due to human biases. Biases distort how people collect and process information. But through continuous thinking and action, we correct errors, like sketching, constantly drawing and revising until the world clarifies and the path becomes clear. For instance, the difference between an experienced leader and a management rookie lies in the depth and breadth of their mental mapping. Ultimately, your cognitive map determines which solutions and actions you choose. The drawing process is essentially the interplay between subjective judgment and objective practice. Through practice, knowledge deepens, perspectives sharpen, and actions gain greater impact. As Wang Yangming observed, cognition is the unity of knowledge and action. At its core, cognition involves collective mental processes, not individual minds, but group consciousness. This is profoundly deep, but as Mintzberg noted, understanding mental mechanisms unlocks strategy's black box. Indeed, the cognitive school emphasizes intuitive insight's role in strategic decisions, correcting the rational-only view, a significant contribution To the cognitive school, strategy formulation is complex and demands continuous learning. Thus emerged the learning school. This school believes strategy emerges naturally as individuals or groups study, organize, and respond to their environment. In other words, strategic management isn't about controlling change, it's managing through change. Sounds abstract? Simply put, since environments constantly shift, strategy naturally evolves too. Thus, strategy making requires ongoing study and analysis of change. That's learning. To the learning school, entrepreneurs matter, not as heroes, but as gardeners. Mintzberg analogizes organizations are gardens, strategy seeds, entrepreneurs gardeners, learning capabilities, let strategy sprout anywhere. Strategy acceptance spreads like seeds. New approaches naturally grow throughout the organizational garden. Entrepreneurs, like gardeners, weed out distractions and nurture promising sprouts. Per the learning school, strategy is rarely formally planned, nor conceived solely by leaders. It emerges from small actions and decisions by employees at all levels, even luck, shifting the organization's strategic course. Through continuous learning, organizations develop core capabilities. These ultimately determine competitive advantage. So, how do we develop such capabilities? Most crucially, by fostering collective learning environments and communication systems. Through these mechanisms, everyone contributes knowledge while benefiting from shared insights. The learning school has gained prominence in the internet era. Key reason: internet companies face volatile, uncertain environments, demanding constant learning by doing, spawning new approaches. Concepts like intrapreneurship, internal competition mechanisms, and iterative innovation embody learning school practices. Some even advocate chaotic learning, sparking innovation through deliberately unstructured environments. The learning school has vast potential since it rejects pre-made strategic templates. Strategy emerges through collective action and discovery. Like the Chinese saying, winning without a move. Naturally, learning requires trial and error, sometimes at high cost. While other schools grow abstract, the Power School stands out as pragmatic and realistic. It focuses on internal or external interest groups and their negotiations, hence Power School. Avoid assuming power is inherently negative. It can yield positive outcomes. Example, power conflicts force adjustments toward fairer, scientific rules. Another, ensuring all stakeholders voice opinions drives organizational change. Guess the Power School's strengths and weaknesses stem from its stakeholder focus. Its negotiation strategies and political techniques complement other strategic approaches. If the Power School is pragmatic, the Cultural School appears abstract. But why is culture so powerful? Mintzberg defines culture as collective organizational will, shared beliefs and values that solidify into ideology. Insightful tone revealing so conscious influence, make choices and act based on culture daily, often unconsciously. The Cultural School's core value emphasizes holistic perception and collective thinking, both internal and external interests. Once stakeholders develop shared values and behaviors, powerful forces stabilize the value network. There's no that the Cultural School has clear weaknesses too. For example, culture itself is intangible. Cultural explanations of strategy often oversimplify complex realities. Environments are complex and critically important. That's the environmental school's core premise. Environment is decisive. Organizations must adapt passively. So, what exactly is environment? Theorists offer no precise definition. Roughly, all external factors affecting the organization. Environmental school concepts remain frustratingly ambiguous. Think of environment as the life-sustaining space formed by air, sunlight, and water. These fundamental conditions nurture all living things. Essentially, it's environmental determinism. All actions are determined by the all-encompassing environment. Businesses cannot transcend environment. Now, the configuration school. This school sees strategy as transformative, integrating all theories to explain organizational evolution. Understand it through two dimensions: static, structure, dynamic, transformation. Specifically, Strategy formulation analyzes static structures to understand context, then drives organizational change. Practical organizational change occurs top down or bottom up, top down being more common. A famous example, Jack Welch's successful transformation at GE involving 5 steps. First step, organizational restructuring through layoffs and streamlining, followed by bureaucratic reform. Third step, comprehensive empowerment through job design and communication systems. Next comes supply chain transformation stages, streamlining internal-external processes to ultimately build a new culture. In reality, massive overhauls like GE's are rare. Given high difficulty and risk, safer approaches involve bottom-up, incremental changes. For instance, managers can start small. Consistent efforts create transformative leaps over time. Overall, while diverse, the configuration school's core contribution is integrating all theories to explain organizational evolution. In the book's conclusion, Mintzberg creates 2 models integrating all 10 schools to reveal strategy's full elephant. But these models remain obscure and unremarkable. Remember, corporate strategy's ultimate test is practical implementation. As Mintzberg said, what we need is good practice, not elegant theory. Yet sometimes we must gaze at the stars and ponder deeper questions. These 10 strategy schools represent distinct intellectual systems. Completing this management safari, you'll appreciate these map-like frameworks. Remember, seek simplicity, but question it. That's strategy safari. That concludes our interpretation. Reading notes are below the audio. See you tomorrow.